Now, I don't usually upload videos on Monday, but I thought right now, with everything that is going on in the markets, with altcoins getting absolutely decimated, it would be a good time to really just take a step back, remove the emotions, and try and evaluate the situation right now with a logical perspective. So we do have a lot to unpack in this video, but I know how it can be in these situations. A lot of emotions flying around. It can be anger, disappointment, just being completely upset with what we are seeing at this time, and it can be very overwhelming. So I just want to try and help you guys get back focused, get back to having a level-headed approach when evaluating the markets. So for me, the best place to start is by looking at Big Daddy Bitcoin, and we're gonna, like I said, zoom out, look at the bigger picture, and evaluate here on the 1 week time frame. So the bizarre thing right now is that Bitcoin really doesn't look too bad. We can see here that price is holding up above 90k. We found some support here over the last couple of months at that area, and despite altcoins getting absolutely obliterated, Bitcoin doesn't look too bad in the grand scheme of things. And I have a theory around altcoin decoupling going on right now. I'll talk about that at the end of the video, but for now, we'll just focus on the chart. So right now we can see that this level is holding as support. Until we see something like this, there is no need to really fear a 70k, 75k retest. That isn't on the cards for me right now, but of course, if things get worse, you cannot rule out that situation. With trading, with investing, you have to be relatively liquid. You have to be flexible with your stance on the market. Otherwise, you can lead yourself holding into multi-year bear markets, and trust me, that is not fun. So right now, not too bad. And if we look at Bitcoin dominance, this is also very interesting right now. I shared this on Twitter kind of half jokingly this morning, but what we can see here is that dominance has been in an uptrend for years now. It has been since November 2022, and it has been extremely strong. But what we've seen here is actually a key level at around 62% with a big wick above, and then we've dropped right below. Now, I'm not saying that Bitcoin dominance has topped out here just because of this solely. There is so much more to consider, but it is very interesting to see that kind of candle on the weekly time frame on Bitcoin dominance, because of course, most people right now would be hoping for Bitcoin to just kind of fall back down, make new lows, and start a downtrend running even lower. But the problem is right now is Bitcoin is the most in-demand asset in the crypto industry. Of course, when you look at the institutions coming in, with Trump coming in, the talk of a Bitcoin strategic reserve, you have to kind of adapt now to realizing that if you had any doubts of Bitcoin being number one, which most people didn't, it has truly cemented that now. And when it is being adopted by these institutions and these big players, you know, that really does confirm that Bitcoin dominance isn't going to drop as low as many people would hope for. And another chart that I often pay attention to, especially when the market takes a turn for the worst, is the total market cap, to evaluate how much money is, in this case, leaving the market. Now, this chart is very interesting to me because we can see here in 2017 that at the beginning of the year, Jan-Feb, total market cap dropped by around 30%. Now, when we started to see the downturn, we could see something similar here, where the start of the year wasn't so great following those 4-year cycles. Now, we never really truly retested the 2017 high, despite the 30% downtrend. It wasn't a clean retest. And of course, this time is different. It is a maturing market. There's more money in the market. So it doesn't necessarily have to be 30%. But what we can see here is that on the recent candle, down the low of the candle here, we can see that it has dropped around 24% and pretty perfectly retested the 2021 highs. So many people will be looking at that as an opportunity and seeing a very similar pattern to what we did see back in Q1 of 2021, and a good place in theory to actually make a bottom and run it back. But you would argue, of course, you know, maybe it can run fall 30% again, and that would take the market cap somewhere down here, maybe retesting this area. But it is a very different industry right now. And what I mean by this is the damage done to spot coin holdings. However, leverage is a big player now in the game compared to what it was back then. Of course, leverage was around, but everybody is using different leverage platforms, using derivatives and so on. So what we can see here from this tweet from Miles is that we have had $2.15 billion liquidated from the crypto market in the last 24 hours. Now, this is the worst liquidation event we have ever seen in crypto. So when we have seen downturns over the last few weeks and alts are fell and people are saying, oh, that was the flush, that was it. Well, of course, people can speculate, but now you actually start to think this was the flush, because it is the biggest flush we have ever seen when it comes to crypto liquidations. So it's worse than Luna, worse than FTX at 1.6 billion. And what's even more scary is this tweet here from the founder of Bybit, Ben. He says that the total liquidation is a lot more than the $2 billion that is being reported, because Bybit liquidations alone were 2.1 billion. He shared a screenshot basically saying that the feed does not push all liquidations that occur on Bybit, so it's not a true reflection of what's really going on. And maybe some other exchanges do the same there. His estimation, with his experience, is that it is closer to around 8 to 10 billion, which then becomes multiples bigger than any event that we have ever seen. So with a changing market, with people relying on derivatives more so than spot, it does change the landscape and it does make it a lot more brutal this time. But the big question at this point for a lot of people is, what has caused the markets to do this? Why has it happened? And some people would say that it was due just solely because of meme coins and pump fun and how much garbage there was in the market. We needed this flush, and that's a fair statement if you believe in utility in the long term. But then the other side of it is outside of crypto, and it's Donald Trump with tariffs. Now, I am not going to pretend to be a tariffs expert. I definitely am not, and I'm not going to share my own opinions on this. But there was some interesting tweets that I've seen that I'm going to share now. And the first one comes from Crypto Donald. And it's about it being the end of the market. He thinks that it normally would be, but they've got a clown in charge, and this basically means that all logical sense goes out of the window. So take that for what you will without getting too political. But the main point here is that he says if Trump backs down on trade wars, then this was the bottom. If he keeps going, we probably go lower. So a lot of it in that regard is in Trump's hands and how he moves forward with these tariffs. And of course, Gainsey being Gainsey, you know, you gotta love Gainsey. He made this tweet a lot better. Cross everything out, this was the bottom. So yeah, I like Gainsey's approach on this personally. I'm sure many other people will as well. But then the other one comes from Altcoin Psycho. And when looking in the macro, his view is that Trump is artificially pumping the dollar to lock in foreign trade deals at a high USD value. Once the trades are signed, he'll rug them by dumping USD to clear way for QE and rate cuts. Now, the big point again with Trump being Trump is that his ego is attached to the market, and I don't buy him pretending it's an afterthought. So there's a full thread here. I'll leave the link in the description because it is a very interesting read, and I'm not going to go into it all right now. But the bottom line is that these tariffs are having a big impact on not just crypto, but all markets right now. And his next step is going to have a big impact on where we go next. But when it comes to Trump, there is one thing that just continuously plays on my mind. And no matter what your opinion is on him, whether you love him, hate him, whether you hate what he's done with creating his own meme coin and these tariffs and everything else going on, one thing for sure is he is a good businessman. And we knew that when he took presidency the first time, never mind the second time. And as we can see from World Liberty Financial Holdings, he is continuing to buy up a lot of crypto, especially Ethereum. We can see here that they've currently got 78.5 thousand Ethereum worth over $200 million, and a bunch of other positions such as Tron, Chainlink, Aave, and much more. And this really gets me thinking about the business side of him. I just have a very hard time believing that Trump has just bought the top of the market when he has so much power and control. Short-term dips, yeah, could be pretty brutal, as we are seeing, but this reassures me in a way that the big utility plays, the solid fundamental coins, will have another run at some point in the near future. And lastly, I want to go through this decoupling thing that I mentioned, because I actually think it is very, very likely that this could be the case moving forward for crypto. There's always going to be speculation, there's always going to be gamblers, it is a degenerate industry, but I think a gap is going to appear, and I'm going to explain exactly what I mean now. So I'm just going to run through this tweet that I shared over the weekend, and I labelled it as utility versus vaporware, the Great Decoupling. So vaporware projects and meme coins are getting slaughtered, whilst major utility coins are down but showing relative strength in comparison. And what I mean by this is, although Ethereum might be down 10, 15, 20%, you can see that meme coins are down 50, 60, 70, if not more. And that's that relative strength, regardless of everything being in the red. Maybe this is what the utility maxis have been waiting for. Some of these maxis are retail, but most are the institutions and whales, including Trump, who don't need the 100x gains. Because those guys are happy for Ethereum to pump 2x, 3x, because that is just incredible for the size that they have in the market. For months we've seen rotational trends pumping, such as vaporware, AI agents, meme coins, etc., whilst major projects like Ethereum and Link barely moved. And this was just solely brought on to us by retail. I mean, everybody was just looking for the next 100x meme coin on Pump Fun, and there was no real interest in people investing in actual good projects. Funnily enough, these are two of the older coins rather than the new shiny coins, like the meme coins, that Trump is also loading up on, as we just mentioned, and I still find it hard to believe that he's buying the top. This is where the Great Decoupling comes into play. Utility versus vaporware, smart money versus retail money, however you want to phrase it. It feels like right now we are seeing survival of the fittest and which coins can survive before we get the next leg up. And this is again coming back to the whole situation that 99% of these meme coins, these low cap memes with no real community left behind them, and the vaporware AI agents that everybody has capitulated on, like, where is the money going to come from for them to pump again? Why are people with that mindset not going to then focus on the new shiny products or the new shiny narrative? That is kind of the problem with going all in on meme coins and such vaporware. So, I mean, I won't carry on now, but all in all, the point being that there is going to be a decoupling in regards to solid projects versus speculative gambling. And the next day I actually come across this graph, which kind of illustrated the decoupling in real time, because we can see that Bitcoin was just ahead of the curve for the longest time, and then more recently it has shown complete strength compared to pretty much every other cryptocurrency here. Other cryptocurrencies struggling to break into new highs, Bitcoin well on the way. And I think it is only a matter of time before other major players like Ethereum follow suit with Bitcoin, whilst the rest of the stuff really struggles to catch a bid. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the market right now. I'm not really doing much right now, to be honest. I'm not buying, I'm not selling. I'm just kind of sitting tight and waiting to see how this all unfolds. I'm quite comfortable with my long-term holdings because, like I said in the video, I do think that solid projects do have a bright future, even if that isn't next week. I do think at some point they are going to come good. So if you did enjoy the video, do drop a like, do subscribe, comment below and let me know what your thoughts are on the market. But in the meantime, please do trade safe, invest safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.